Derion Kendrick's new contract revealed to the public. Should TJ Watt end up on the Rams? Is Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer? And does Madden have us winning the Super Bowl? Well, we'll talk about all that next on this off-season update episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian, that's Mark, and if you're on YouTube, make sure to that's right. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. That all helps out the channel be able to be out there for other Rams fans to see. And if you're on the audio only side of things, podcast only side of things, share this audio, share this podcast with all your fellow Rams fans. Any of those options, we very much appreciate it. But Mark, my friend, how you doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. Just chilling. Gonna have a few people over later today. Maybe it's kind of nice. We can see possibly as many as 3 different fireworks, little glimmers of fireworks in the distance from our patio. So it's kind of nice. We're not planning on going anywhere though.
Yeah, I feel you. It's a madhouse in my neighborhood on the east side of Los Angeles. It is. I don't need to buy any if I so choose. I don't need to do anything. I can just sit in the front yard and watch a Disneyland level show all night and probably all the rest of this weekend and a week after that too, if we're being real. But good on you. And then to all our fellow Rams fans, football fans out there, if you're enjoying the day off today, hey, enjoy it with your family, have your fun get-togethers, and just celebrate good times with good people. As I tip my imaginary cap to you, thanks for tuning in on this day off for you and a day off for all our fellow Rams and football fans. Enjoy time with family, eat good, party, have fun, and just remember, life is short. Enjoy the time with your loved ones and whoever the heck you want to be around, right? So, hey, enjoy the day, everyone. But
Yeah, it's a really good day just to remember to keep safety on the top of your list too. Bad day to go to an emergency room, I'll tell you that.
absolutely brutal day. You don't want to be on those viral clips you see of people blowing their fingers off. Don't be those people, everyone. Be safe. Mess around with your sparklers, and that's it. Don't be holding anything else, please. But some other fireworks that were going on recently in LA, Rams Nation. Our friends down the street or up the hill, you could say. Clayton Kershaw was recently seen wearing a Rams hat. Pretty dang cool, as he is, if you did not know, best buddies with our quarterback, Matthew Stafford. And, Matthew, you see him wearing the blue classic Dodgers LA hat all the time, post-game press conference, around town, vacation. I mean, dude is rocking that Dodger hat all the time. So Clayton Kershaw's like, you know what? Someone get me a LA Rams hat. And recently you saw him wearing that. If you're on YouTube, you can see him wearing the traditional new logo that everyone is accustomed to now, the LA with the swooping horn. And pretty cool, right? You're starting to see, Mark and Rams Nation, you're starting to see other athletes in the LA area, professional athletes, start to rock some Rams gear. And I think that's pretty cool. And, Kershaw is an LA legend. He's on my Mount Rushmore of LA athletes overall, and everyone has their own personal opinion, of course, but pretty cool to see that, get that Rams awareness going. As we know, a lot of Dodger fans are 49er fans, Raiders fans, Steelers fans. So this is a fun little jab, at least in my mind, be like, hey, Rams are LA's team and Kershaw approves, everyone.
Yeah, I wonder how much he paid for that hat. I wonder if he paid the full price. I have a feeling Matthew Stafford might have sent it to him. And you
I
mentioned the
think,
other day
yeah.
on that podcast about how you're seeing more and more Rams paraphernalia out and
Mm-hmm.
about, and it's true. I was in San Clemente a couple of weekends ago, walking around their little outdoor mall, and the only NFL uh, stuff I saw was a guy wearing a Stafford jersey and another guy wearing a Rams hat, and that was it. So it's kind of nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, Rams Nation in this LA Rams 2.0 era we're in, right? 1.0 was the original from, 50s to the 95, 94 exit. St. Louis era, now we're in the LA Rams 2.0 era since 2016. Every year it's getting better and better. The fan base is growing, but we all know it's what the young boys and girls now, right? And there's plenty of people that are enjoying the football and are, representing the Rams here in Los Angeles that are teenagers, adults, of course. But it's about the young bucks, the young girls and boys growing with this team, enjoying seeing them win no matter who is on this roster, right? Winning football, playoff wins, deep playoff runs, hopeful Super Bowl championships. It's up to them to carry it, and I am seeing that, and it is palpable. It is something that is good to see, but they got to keep it up, right? More losing seasons, that all goes to capuche, right? So, Clayton Kershaw wearing a Rams hat, that helps the cause, and it's good to see. And shout out to Kershaw for getting the 30,000 strikeout, milestone recently. And I'm sure Stafford was probably in the crowd if I had to put some money on it. They're best buddies. So thanks, Kershaw. Keep wearing some Rams gear. We appreciate it. Keep spreading the good word of Rams royal and soul. But some other final news, and I know Mark covered this last week, but I want to share my thoughts with you guys since I've only had a couple posts or tweets, Twitter X, about it. But Jalen Ramsey no longer going to be a Ram. What a freaking bummer. And Ramsey is going to the Steelers. But my final thoughts on this, Rams Nation, I'll be, quick and concise about it, is that the trade package that the Steelers gave to the Dolphins for Ramsey and tight end Jonnu Smith is something that the Rams were never going to do. They were never going to give up another starting caliber player, and they were never going to give Jalen Ramsey a pay raise, right? I mean, that's just the reality. When Ramsey was first traded away to the Dolphins in 2022 and the Rams got rid of him, it was because the cap / the money spending, it was all jacked up from pushing in the win now mode for years and years, even with the Goff era. And Ramsey did want a raise, and that was just impossible to do based on all the money and the allocation of money cap-wise that was spent on this team over a handful of years trying to win a championship. And they won a championship. It all worked out. So they were never going to take him back and say, hey, we got rid of it because we didn't want to pay you. So we're going to bring you back and then pay you even more than what the Dolphins were giving you. It was just never going to happen. And then, again, Steelers are going to want probably another starting player, or Dolphins. So it was never going to happen, Rams Nation. The Rams were never going to match an offer like the Steelers gave to the Dolphins. Now, would it have been cool to get Minka Fitzpatrick in this defense? That would have been cool. But we have safeties that can play. It just, all these scenarios that I just laid out that the Steelers catered to the Dolphins, the Rams were never, ever going to do that. So it's disappointing, as Schefter, Ian Rappaport both reported that the Rams and Steelers were the final two teams in the Ramsey sweepstakes. But hey, I feel confident about this group in the secondary. I thought they played fantastic football the second half of the season into the playoff tournament last year. This secondary can play some good football. Now, I know a lot of people are down on them. I'm not saying they're all these Pro Bowl level guys. They're no fly zone Broncos, no Legion of Boom Seahawks, no steel curtain. I get all that. But I think this group can play. And if injuries don't screw it up, I think this will be a good overall secondary unit. And I think a good defense overall. So would Ramsey have been cool? Hell yeah. But Rams, I think, will look back on this just like how the McCaffrey trade didn't work out. Just like the Brian Burns trade didn't happen. I think with those things not happening and it benefiting us long term, I think this Ramsey trade, because of what the Dolphins wanted, I think us not doing it will benefit us long term. And I think that's the right decision, Mark, Rams Nation.
Yeah, and I'm still, not clear on how Ramsey would have fit into this defense. We've talked about it. He's not going to be an outside. He wouldn't have been an outside corner, I don't think. I'm not sure how he's gonna fit in with the Steelers, to be honest with you. We'll let them figure that out. I'm no
Mhm.
expert on the Steelers, but yeah, it just seems like a lot to go after a guy that, I don't know, just a little bit uncertain how he's gonna fit into any defense at this point, especially the Steelers and the Rams. So yeah, sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't make.
Yeah, and we've seen that time and time again with this McVay Snead, or I like to call it the McSnead era. A lot of trades that didn't happen worked out, right? Not getting Brock Bowers and trading up. Hey, we got Jared Verse instead. Worked out pretty dang good. And I'll take Jared over Brock just based on the needs on defense and how he's gonna be a future All Pro if he keeps continuing to get better. So we can go down the list, and I think the Ramsey, this trade that we did not get done, I think will benefit us long term. So be it, right? But oh well, Ramsey, you're still an all-time Ram, and it's nice to know that he will be, right? His time with the Jaguars and Steelers, Dolphins, he'll be remembered as a Super Bowl champion, and his best season as a pro was as a Ram. And I think even if, no matter how good he plays with the Steelers, I think nothing will top that 2020 season, and nothing will top all his good plays he made during the Super Bowl 2021 season. So all-time Ram, and he'll be remembered as a Ram. And I'm sure he'll live in Los Angeles when his days are playing are done too. So he'll be around. He'll be around, Rams Nation. But what are some other news about corners going on with the Rams? Well, we got details on Derion Kendrick's new contract finally, as he was originally cut, and we all thought, well, like other corners are playing good, and then he was brought back, as Sean McVay did mention to the media, and we talked about this, how they just did not want him at that $3.4 million salary. They said, hey, Darion, if you want to come back for more of a minimum, a vet minimum, we'll bring you back. So now Derion Kendrick's new contract for 2025 will not be 3.4 million. It'll be 1 million practically, or 1 point, not 3 million, but 1.03 million. So basically $1 million. So it's $2 million cheaper than what he was originally going to get. It did save some cap space. It does give the Rams flexibility to get other guys in. I'm sure that had a big domino effect of getting DJ Humphries in, right? You can use some of that money to get him in here, as he's going to be getting over 2 million as well. So hey, we'll see what he can do. The coaching staff is high on him. They want him around. And for this, not vet minimum, because he's not a veteran yet, his rookie contract isn't up yet, but for a veteran minimum type deal for around $1 million, you can't be mad at that, Rams Nation. What about you, Mark?
Well, what I wanna know is, and I'm not sure you have the answer, but does this mean he's, in all likelihood, gonna be on this 53-man roster? Do you think that's still to be determined? I mean, the Rams obviously like him to some degree, but they took the risk of actually waiving him, uh, and now he's back. What do you think? Do you think he's, gonna be one of these DBs on this roster come September?
It's very, very possible, Mark Ramsdation. But, we thought guys who were secure in roster spots in the McVay era, would make this team. And that, has not been the case. Who would have thought Ernest Jones was going to get shipped away last year? So no one is safe. Everyone has to earn it, right? Ernest Jones, in the eyes of the coaching staff, didn't earn a starting job. So they said, hey, well, let's get some trade value for him. So should he make it? Maybe. He's played some meaningful football for us. He's had some good moments, plenty of bad too. Obviously, we've all witnessed it and gone through it with Darion and the Rams. But nothing is earned. Nothing is earned, and especially since he's technically been cut already. I mean, there is nothing secure about his roster spot. He is not a lock to make it in. And, the cornerback group as a whole is pretty deep, right? Okello, Darius Williams, Kobe Durant, Emmanuel Forbes, we picked off
Right.
waivers, and he's getting obviously a first-round salary. You got Wallace. You have AJ Green, not Bengals AJ Green, our young AJ Green, and others who I'm blanking on. So that's a deep room. And
Sean Jolly and, Charles Woods, Josh Wallace
correct.
that
Yeah,
you
there's a
mentioned,
lot of
yeah.
guys. And hey, we'll see how it shakes out. If he plays in the preseason, then he's fighting for a roster spot. If he is not, then his roster spot is probably secure, maybe, you know? Um, so we shall see. We shall see. But he is not a lock at all. Not at all.
Fair enough.
Yep. And, we wish Darion well, right? We hope to see more good moments than the bad when he was playing a bunch for us, in years past. So, again, everyone, Darion now making a little over $1 million instead of 3.4 that he originally was supposed to get. And the Rams cutting him, doing all that, gets him down to that $1 million range. So we'll see if he earns a spot. I wish him well for sure. And another fun news with team spending, cap spending, how does that affect everything? Well, we talked about not long ago about how the Rams were yet again for the third year in a row ranked last in team spending for their defense. 3 years in a row, the Rams are ranked last in team spending for a defense. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Well, it's almost the complete opposite for the offense, as the Rams this season are the fourth most expensive offense for the 2025 campaign. As we'll pull up a graphic here, as you can see that the number one team in team spending for offense is the Kansas City Chiefs. The number two team, and this was a surprise to me, I was like, really? The Atlanta Falcons are the second. The Cincinnati Bengals, after paying a lot of people, are now ranked third. And then our Los Angeles Rams are ranked fourth. And then right behind us are the Detroit Lions, ranked fifth. And this is all based on cap hits and cap spending, not necessarily the physical dollars that a player is getting deposited into their bank account. Remember, everyone, long story short, you can manipulate the team spending, the cap spending, another name for it, by spreading out their contract money, the physical money they're getting, in bonuses. But by doing those bonuses, it'll inflate future years of a player's cap hit. So let's just say I'm paying Mark $30 million for 2025. And we say, you know what, Mark, we want to get your cap hit lower. So his physical money going into the bank is 30 million. And the cap hit, the team spending budget, is also 30 million, right? It's equal. He's getting 30 and the cap hit for him is 30. But we say, hey, we want to get your cap hit lower so we can go sign Aaron Donald out of retirement, right? Making it up here. So we want to shave off 10 million of your cap hit. So how do we do that? Okay, we're going to give you a bonus of, let's just say, another 10 million instead of maybe spreading out that 30 million over the whole season. And that'll shave off 30 of the cap hit. So now his cap hit for 2025 is 20 million instead of 30. But next year, Mark's cap hit will have an additional 10 on top of it. So let's say he's getting another 30 in 2026. Instead of it being 30, it'll be 40 million. He's not getting paid physically 40 million, but his team spending budget cap hit will be 40. So hopefully that makes sense. And that is what this graphic is based off of. Cap hits, not what the physical dollars that every player is getting. But all these teams that are shown on this graphic here, again, Chiefs, Falcons, Bengals, Rams, Lions, there are a lot of players making serious dollars on offense there. But again, this is based off the cap hits, the team spending budgets. Things are inflated for Matthew Stafford and others. It's not necessarily the same as what he's physically getting in his bank account. But does that really matter? Because your team spending budget, you only have a finite amount, and the Rams are fourth, Mark. So I say all that to say, is this shocking to you to see that, or is this a no-brainer based on how we've allocated money for a long time?
Yeah, I was confused with the Falcons there, and I checked and remember Kirk Cousins, he's a $40 million hit. So that was that accounts for a lot of that. And they have 9 guys. I just pulled it up, 9 guys with cap hits of $10 million or more, including Leonard Floyd. Of course, he's defense. But the Rams have 5 guys that account for $97 million. And I believe they are all on offense: Stafford, Dotson, Adams, Havenstein, and Atwell. So there you go. No, so it's not surprising. And that's been their MO for a little bit here. Try to draft really good on defense. And they've hit on defense, and they've hit on offense as well. But they're spending their free agency money on offense for sure. They've been doing that for a little while. So, not surprised. I was surprised to see the Falcons up there, but then, Kirk Cousins accounts for a big chunk of that.
Yeah, the Kirk Cousins contract that really inflates it for sure. But with the Rams having the last place team spending for defense and being in the top 5 for offense, I mean, this offense cannot start slow like it has 2 years in a row. It cannot be for a third year in a row. It cannot be that way. Now, this defense, I think, is going to be pretty good overall, hovering around top 10, hopeful top 10 if everyone plays their potential. But look, there can be no, Devontae's really not acclimated in yet. Ferguson's really not playing well. Blake Corum and everyone in the backfield rotating in is not getting the job done or not pass blocking good. Hey, DJ Humphries, he's really struggling at left tackle because Alaric is recovering. All these different little things, and obviously injuries are the great, demolisher of everything, no matter what side of the ball you're on. But this team cannot start slow on offense like it has multiple years in a row now. We need McVay. We need these players all to be in sync, play calling and execution, play design. It all has to work because if you're going to be in the top 5, there is no excuse for the offense to be poor for majority, stretches of a season like it has the last 2 years. So everyone healthy for the most part, good players and great players on that side of the ball on offense. They have to act like a top 10 unit and, perform most Sundays like a top 5 unit based on what, the cap hits and what they're all being paid, Mark. I mean, it has to be that way. It has
Yeah,
to.
and it's not just the first part of the season. Even when they were rolling, they had some really dismal first halves on offense.
Yeah.
Got to figure that out too, and that's got to be on just preparation, you'd think, or I don't pregame routine. Something is
Play
amiss in the
play
first
calling
half.
too, though. Let's be real. I
Play
love
calling,
McVay, but
yeah.
there's times he gets in stretches where I'm like, I didn't like that series of plays there. But anyway, I mean, I agree with all that too. So Rams Nation, I have high hopes. You should as well. I know Mark does. We all do. But this team has got to perform more times than not on Sundays offensively, or we're just going to be biting our nails, pulling our hair, drama, dread, anxiety week after week, hoping that a young defense will carry the day for a third year in a row. I don't want to live in that world week by week or majority of weeks like we had the last 2 years, but I expect that not to be the case, and I hope that will be the case. But your Los Angeles Rams, the 4th most expensive offense in 2025. Not shocked, but pretty crazy that they're ranked 4. I thought they'd for sure be top 10, but hey, we live in this world. Let's go kick some ass and score some touchdowns. Please. Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay. But speaking of offense and fun little tidbits we've been seeing, Madden 26 in their franchise mode trailer, which is the game mode where you can start with the team, you are controlling the team in all aspects, trades, signings, roster construction, numbers. I mean, basically whatever the hell you want to do with a certain franchise. But in that trailer from the new video game from EA, Madden 26, that's coming out soon, they show the Rams winning the Super Bowl in the 49ers Stadium, as this upcoming Super Bowl in February will be up north in Northern California at the 49ers home stadium in Santa Clara, not San Francisco. I always like to just throw it out there for fun. But they show Devontae Adams hoisting a Lombardi trophy. Speaking of offense, right? This would be a dream scenario seeing this happen, as in this trailer, as shout out to Cameron De Silva as he caught this, as he screenshot. It's a new Madden 26 trailer has a major spoiler in it, as it shows Devontae, Sean McVay, Omar Speights, you can see there in the background, Braden Fisk, and others hoisting that Lombardi trophy in the home of the Santa Clara, San Francisco 49ers Stadium there, as this would be fantastic, Mark. All that offensive spending, right? I need Devontae to kick ass of the year, score some touchdowns in the Super Bowl, and then he get his hands on a Lombardi trophy too. His eventual, probably future Hall of Fame finish here.
Yeah, that would just be extra special sweet to win it up there. We could start calling it SoFi North, right? Or Rams win the
Oh
Super
yeah,
Bowl. Rams
I
win a
will.
Super Bowl in Santa Clara. That'd just be really special.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic, right? We avoided the catastrophe of 2021 of the Niners winning it in our stadium. Because look, if they would have beat us in that 2021 NFC Championship, they were going to beat the Bengals. They were. It was there was a no-brainer, honestly. So we avoided that catastrophe of them winning in our stadium. Let's cause them a catastrophe and win it in their stadium. And for Devontae being from Northern California, right? He grew up obviously a Raider fan, played at Fresno State, grew up in Northern California. I think that'd be a pretty awesome moment for him when he get there. I'm sure he would have tons of family, and that'd be a great moment. So yeah, I agree, Cameron from Rams Wire. Great spoiler, and I hope this comes true. Fun little tidbit, Rams Nation, for sure. But speaking of things to win a Super Bowl championship, right, Rams Nation? No Ramsey. Other things haven't happened in terms of big trades or other big signings or big trade up in the drafts. Well, there are multiple NFL analysts who say the Rams should trade for former defensive player of the year, all pro, a likely, possibly future Hall of Famer, outside linebacker from the Steelers, TJ Watt. As Mark, there's a lot of traction where reporters are saying, yeah, the negotiations are really going bad between the Steelers and their former defensive player of the year, TJ Watt, as he is fantastic. He is elite. And let's not forget, Rams Nation, during the 2018 Super Bowl run, the Rams made a serious offer to get Khalil Mack from the Raiders, and they were incredibly close. I think they were off by one draft pick, and then obviously the Bears got him, and he kicked ass for the Bears. But they were never going to extend Khalil Mack, but they said, F it. If we win a championship, who cares about all those picks? F them picks, right? The F them picks era. So in this scenario here, you got a bunch of different trade packages people have talked about. People have said, give the Steelers a first, send Byron Young, give them a first, maybe send another player, send multiple firsts, different packages. But if the Rams were to do this, and I'll ask you, Mark, do you think it would be the right decision? And do you like giving up big assets to get TJ Watt for a hopeful Super Bowl run?
Well, let me think about this. Obviously he's an elite player. You bring him into this defense at a big dollar amount. It's going to eat up a lot of the cap space we have left. And is he going to make this team that much better moving on from, let's say you give up someone like Byron Young? You're going to have to move on from one of these outside linebackers, defensive ends, because I just don't think there's enough snaps. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this move. If they were to make it, I'd probably be happy though. It's kind of like with the Ramsey thing. It'd be a luxury, but I don't want to give up a first round pick next year. I'd be dead set against that. I think that I just love the idea of going into next year with those two first round picks. And I would not be a fan of giving up one of those. Second rounder, maybe third rounder down the road. I don't know. But really like Byron Young too. I think I love the idea of having these young guns, these guys that have grown up together. Verse and Young only had 1 year together so far. They could be something really special this year, especially if Josiah Stewart or Brennan Jackson, develops. So yeah, I mean, who's going to be opposed to adding TJ Watt to your defense? But again, the cost, the salary cap wise, and giving up draft capital, yeah, I'm not sold on that.
I get it. Now, if this trade happened, I would be happy about it. Am I dying for it? Am I like, you have to do it, Rams, to win a championship? No. But there's multiple scenarios where this makes sense, and I think a lot of people would be able to swallow it. Now, I know you're in the camp of let's not give up one of those first round picks, but We were lucky to even get it from Atlanta originally. So if they wanted to bail on one of those first round picks, I have no problem with that to get TJ Watt, sincerely, because you're getting an elite potential future Hall of Fame player in a scheme where he's going to be playing with Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, and Jared Verse. I'm sorry, that's significantly better than what the Steelers have right now. What makes the Steelers front seven great is him and Cameron Hayward, right? And yes, they have other good players. I'm not trying to say they don't have a good overall front seven, but I think the pass rushing ability of Braden, Kobe, and Jared is significantly better than what the Steelers have right now. I firmly believe that. I don't even think it's super debatable. You can debate me on that, but I think our pass rush unit as a whole right now is better than the Steelers outside of TJ Watt, of course. So you plug him in, and that's only going to cost you a first round pick, and let's say maybe a second. I have no problem with that. A first and a second, I think you pull that trigger. And again, do I think the Steelers are really going to bail on him and trade him away? I don't. I think they're not foolish enough to let one of the all-time great players of their franchise go like that. But if it is a potential to get him, send a first and a second, do it. I mean, I know people are like, don't send away Byron Young and all that, but let's be real about it real quick, Rams Nation. Between Jared Verse and Byron Young, who is going to get re-signed as of today? It's going to be Jared Verse. Byron Young is going to be a casualty where he will probably end up going somewhere else if Jared continues to play like he has and improve, which I think is going to happen. So for a player who is unlikely to ever come back, and you're going to say, hey, we can guarantee ourselves a great chance to win a championship with TJ Watt. Again, not guaranteeing a Super Bowl win, but increase your likelihood significantly. I have no problem with that. So in trade scenarios by other NFL analysts, they say a first and Byron Young, multiple first, a first and a player of the Rams choosing. I have no problem with any of those scenarios, sincerely. I mean, I really do enjoy seeing Byron Young play, but for a player who, again, I think is unlikely to ever come back based on Jared Verse's play, I think it makes sense. And again, this is no hit to or talking down of Byron Young, who I think is a good pass rusher, a good player, and he's still learning and growing. But do we think he'll ever be TJ Watt level? I doubt it. Do we think even Jared Verse will ever be TJ Watt level? Maybe. I think he has a chance, possibly, based on what we've seen. So I think if you got to choose the lesser of two, then Byron has to go, then so be it. But I'm fine with keeping the picks. But if he's open to being shipped away and the Steelers are open to that too, you send that first round pick and you send a second round pick and you do what you got to do to get him, because man, oh man, this would be a great move. But I don't think it'll happen, truthfully. But I'm on board with it, Mark. I know I'm a little different than you on this.
Yeah,
sentiment.
the more I think about it, if Byron Young will be a free agent in 2027, so that's a good point. You got 2 more years out of him, max, probably. And maybe you could convince me if it's the Rams' first round pick, not the Falcons. I'm expecting the Falcons pick to be a little bit higher. It would be a formidable defense, man. It would be a crazy good front the Rams could offer up. Man, it could be something special. But I've really gotten used to the idea of having those 2 first round picks. And
No, I
the
get
other
it.
thing, yeah, the other thing that kind of falls into your line of thinking perhaps is, have the Rams already seen enough of Brennan Jackson and Josiah Stewart to say, hey, you know what? We have our next Byron Young in camp already. You won't know that for sure until they get into games. Brennan Jackson, I think, played in one game last year. Josiah Stewart, we don't know what we have there, but the
Yeah.
Rams, I would think after mini camp and OTAs, they have a little bit of an idea of if one of these guys is going to be able to contribute, rotate in and take some snaps this year and be impactful. And if the answer to that is yes, then maybe you move on from Byron Young.
Yeah. I mean, I think we really won't know until the pads come on, joint practices start kicking off, right? You got to face other people and all that. So, I mean, the question of Brennan and Josiah, I mean, we'll know once the pads get on, and we'll get a better idea. I'm sure the coaches will as well. But hey, a fun scenario to talk about Rams Nation. Again, multiple NFL analysts say the Rams should trade for outside linebacker TJ Watt. I'm in agreement. Again, if it's not some outrageous deal, I'm in. I'm in for a first and a second round pick. Absolutely. F them picks. Let's go win a championship. I got no problem. Hey, it worked out pretty good for Jalen, right? Long term. Yeah. Worked out pretty good for Von Miller, right? A veteran outside linebacker who was on the decline technically. TJ Watt's still kicking ass, like top 5, top 3 edge rusher in the league. Von Miller was on the downslope and he was killing it. Now you say Aaron Donald had a lot to do with it, sure. But I'm in. I agree with you, all you analysts out there. But anyway, we'll see what the future holds. But I'm perfectly fine with Byron, Jared, Braden, Kobe, Puna being the front guys. I think we can win a championship with them too. But another fun debates going on between analysts and the NFL world, Rams Nation. Speaking of another Hall of Fame-esque player, in my opinion, Matthew Stafford's been in the debate circle recently. Tons of different shows, radio shows, TV shows, websites. Matthew Stafford's been a heavy, topic of whether or not, if his playing days were to end, right? The season was never going to happen for him. Is he a Hall of Famer? As again, multiple NFL analysts are debating if quarterback Matthew Stafford is a future Hall of Famer. As you hear the great debates between the Rich Eisen show guys. You have seen plenty of columns from writers talk about this. You've seen other radio shows and even NFL Live from ESPN and others talk about it a ton, and what they think of the Rams and especially him, and what another championship would mean to his legacy. But if he called it a day and never came back to the Rams, was he a Hall of Famer then? So, I mean, Mark, I ask you, and I think I know the answer. If his playing days were done, right? He never ever took a snap with any other team, obviously the Rams too. Would he be a Hall of Famer in your eyes?
Well, in my eyes, the answer would be yes. Now, do I think he would be? Do I think he would be in reality? And I think it's still borderline. I'm not sure. Again, don't misunderstand me. I would say yes. That doesn't mean everybody else, the voters, are going to think so. Right now, he's 10th in the all-time passing yardage list, right behind. If he plays another year, he's probably going to pass up Dan Marino, Matt Ryan. Aaron Rodgers is still playing, so maybe not him. Has a chance of catching Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger if he plays a year and a half. I know your question was if he retired right now. But yeah, I don't know, borderline, but I would vote yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna go through some stats right now. If he never played another snap, he is 10th all time in passing yards for a career. He is 10th all time in passing touchdowns for a career. He is 6th all time for passing yards per game, the average of what he's thrown for a game. 6th. Game winning drives, he is in the top 5, 5th all time. Fourth quarter comebacks, he is 4th all time. He is the fastest quarterback to get to 4,000 career passing yards. Crazy. He is also the fastest for 30,000 and the other ones before then. He is one of 5 players in the history of the league to pass for at least 5,000 yards. He is the leader all time in playoffs with passing yards per game. That also includes the Lions days and his Rams days. And a lot of these rankings, Rams Nations, like Mark talked about, he'll leapfrog guys and he'll probably climb into the top 5 in a lot of these other ones where he's, hovering around 10. So as of today, I think he is, based on all that, based on what he's done, one of the greatest throws in the Super Bowl ever, the no-looker to Cooper Kupp, right? It was just Cooper Kupp, our 4th-string wide receiver at the time, Van Jefferson, our 5th-string Ben Skoranek, our 4th-string tight end, obviously our O-line, Cam Akers coming off an Achilles injury. I mean, the dude, him and Kupp, saved the all-in season and got it done. And again, one of the greatest passes in Super Bowl history, game-winning touchdown drive. Man, oh freaking man. I just think it's not even a debate, sincerely. And I think after this season, it'll be not even a debate for all the other guys who are teeter-tottering. But I think
Well,
if
so
let another
are
snap, he should be in, but I think he will be in based on what he continues to do this season and hopefully more than that.
so I understand you think he should be in if he were to retire tomorrow, but do you think he would be?
I think that's a great question. I think there's other players who are questionable in the Hall of Fame. I think because he has a championship, I think he should be. I think because of the immediate success he had leaving the Lions and then winning with the Rams a championship in the first year, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think hopefully, voters will remember that amazing pass, game-winning drive. Remember all the backups that were playing in majority of that Super Bowl, and he willed them to victory, throwing the football when the run game was irrelevant. That whole Super Bowl, right? It was his throwing got us any points at all, really. Hopefully, you remember all of the game-winning drives with the Lions, the game-winning drives he's had with the Rams, and obviously the career accolades. I think if they remember all those things, you can say, how can Matthew Stafford not be in the Hall? But the Hall of Fame gets wacky. Voters get
No.
their feelings involved. Whether some guys probably shouldn't be in teeter-totter and some guys aren't, or I mean, for damn sake, Torrey Holt's not in the Hall of Fame yet. Like, what are we doing? So I think he should be. Will he get in? I don't know. Because our great Torrey Holt's not in. Super Bowl champion, greatest show on turf, greatest receiver of the 2000s decade. I mean, what? And he's not in yet. So I don't know, Mark. But
Yeah,
I
and
think Stafford should be.
that game-winning drive stat, considering that most of his career was with the Lions, is pretty amazing because the Lions barely won it all, period. I mean, how many of those wins, what percentage were due to game-winning drives by Matthew Stafford? I might have to try to figure that out. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. I mean, I just hope he'll get in. And I think a second Lombardi championship this year, if that does everything go our way, I think it's a no-brainer after then, and then he'll continue to climb up leaderboards of stats too. So we
Yeah,
shall
and
see,
I
Rams
think,
Nation. But some fun dialogue going on between NFL analysts for different reasons around the Rams. But this one being a fun one, right? NFL analysts are
eh
debating if Stafford is a future Hall of Famer, and me and Mark say yes, and I'm sure you do too. And the
And I
stats,
think, I think based on, how he was treated his last visit to Detroit, he may be entering the Hall of Fame in full Rams uniform and no mention of the Lions. That's probably not true, but,
Matthew Stafford's a
maybe
character, man. The Lions are a part of his career path, but he'll be. I mean, look at his great moments will be remembered as a
Yeah,
Rams player, and I'll take that. That's fine with me.
yeah,
Perfect.
right.
As I think he's the most talented Rams quarterback in history. I mean, shout out to Kurt Warner, shout out to Roman, shout out to whoever I'm blanking on right now from the 1950s championship teams. Apologies on that, and anyone else I'm blanking on that have won championships. But Matthew Stafford is the most talented quarterback in Rams history, and I think another championship, he would probably end up being everyone's number one Rams quarterback if it's all said and done with another Lombardi on his resume. And I hope that's the
Yeah,
case.
even if you throw out era, Van Brocklin and Waterfield, yeah, they were
Yeah,
great for
there you
their
go. I'm
time.
blanking on names.
And Jim Everett, a lot of people aren't in love with Jim Everett as far as, racking and stacking the Ram quarterbacks. But you got to give shout outs to those guys. But I
Of course,
agree.
yeah.
It's got to be Matthew Stafford.
Yep. One more trophy. Book your ticket to the Hall of Fame, Matthew, and book your ticket into Rams hearts and minds forever as the Rams' best quarterback in team history, which I think is kind of already the case. But man,
And
oh man, I can't wait for
what
the
are
season to
the
start.
and every time I see that picture of I saw it again this week, Clayton Kershaw and Matthew Stafford in their little league uniforms, uh, and one of them ends up in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, and another one in the NFL Hall of Fame. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, ain't it? Shoot. Yeah, man. LA is just the home of greatness. And I'm glad Matthew Stafford's greatness is shining through here with us for our team, Rams Nation. But Man, oh man, Mark, you know, the dead days of the offseason, there's still tons to talk about. There's still tons of scenarios to go through as we did today. But I mean, let me know in the comment section, Rams Nation, as I will respond and read to all of your comments and concerns and anything else you'd like to say. Do you think that TJ Watt is worth trading at least a first round pick, a second round pick in tandem, or a first and a player? I mean, what are your opinions on that? Let me know if that makes sense to you, or let's rock with the crew we have. And then let me know how you feel. Is Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer? And try to be as objective as possible. I know we have our biases as Rams fans, but objectively, do you think Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer if he never played another snap, if he retired right now? Do you think he'd be a Hall of Famer? But Mark, before we get out of here, any final thoughts?
No, hey man, if this TJ Watt trade comes down, we'll definitely have something to talk about. Yeah, well, hopefully some news comes our way. Hopefully we'll have more to talk about over the next week. Kind of a little bit of the doldrums, but like you say, man, there's always Ram stories out there, and we'll try to hit them.
We will hit them, Rams Nation. So again, if you're on YouTube here, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, all those different scenarios. We very much appreciate it. It helps this Rams content be able to be seen for other football fans, other Rams fans. And if you're on the audio only, podcast only side of things, you know, share this podcast, share this audio with all your fellow Rams fans and football fans. Any of those options, again, we very much appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. And never forget, Rams Nation, go Rams, baby.